Thank you very much, and hello everybody. We are very glad to be here for this fireside chat. Where is the fire? We cannot even sit at the fire, but anyway, we do this presentation. I'm very glad to be here. So we are also talking about climate change and in impact investing in climate tech. We have a little bit different approach than most people when we talk about climate crisis. Of course, it is an existential threat for humanity, probably the biggest threat we have ever faced. But our view is, what if we were optimistic about climate change? So a couple of years ago, when I really started to think about the immense problem of climate change, it came to my mind, if the whole world needs to change, all systems needs to change, materials need to change, transportation need to change in order to avoid, this catastrophe, that is a huge business opportunity. And it's probably the biggest economic trend in a generation, if not ever. So if we look at climate change from a perspective, from an optimistic perspective, where we say, yes, we need to do something, but it can also be a business opportunity. We can do both. We can act on the problem and see it as an opportunity. The whole problem gets a little bit less sad and a little bit less helpless and a little bit more, let's roll up the sleeve and let's do something about it. And that's what we want to do with Übermorgen Ventures. So just that you see some other people having similar thoughts about it. The founder of Stripe, pessimist sounds smart. You can say we're all doomed, but optimists are going to make money. And the guy who knows best, Larry Flink, CEO of BlackRock, he agrees and he says, look, the next unicorns there will be in climate tech. The chances and the opportunities are enormous. 17 million new jobs, 26 trillion of value creation. And if you only look at the health benefits, like people not dying or dying less early, the opportunities and the benefits are enormous. So that's what we look at from Übermorgen Ventures. That's our team. I don't start by myself. So my co-founder, Mike Neff, he was the founder of Doodle. He invested in over 30 startups. He and I, we invest together since 10 years in several startups together. So we share the office since, I think, 7 years or so. Elena Walder, she's a lawyer. She shares with us the office as well, and she has probably done more than 100 startup transactions in Switzerland. Alex Langgut, he has a master at the ETH in environmental science. He worked for McKinsey on energy projects in Africa, so he's a little bit our science guy. And myself, early stage investor and business angel since 20 years. Also investor in, first investor and chairman of Farmi, who also presented here this morning, as well as many others. What's our goal? Our goal is actually to put our expertise at work. So what we want to do is we want to do early stage investments in startups in the area of climate tech. We look at all startups and they need to be able to reduce at least 100,000 tons of CO2. So we really only look at those who really have an impact. I look at you, Joel. And on the other side, we look at probably, hopefully successful startups. So we aim to have a multiple over invested capital of 3 to 5 in our investment company. We are not a fund, we are an investment company, an evergreen structure, but that's what we're looking with our investments. So again, we see it as the number one opportunity to have an impact, to really be part of the solution, and also to make money. We look at, is that our time? Is that our? Perfect. So we look at more than 1,000 deals a year. We get on average 3 new deals every day. We have invested so far in 11 startups only this year. We just decided to invest in 4 more. So we will come out with 14 to 15 investments only this year. We invest early stage. We have an excellent network of co-investors. Most of them are, or some of them are here today. And together we really look for the best early stage companies that help to reduce carbon, that help to reduce CO2 from the atmosphere. Here's a little view on our portfolio. So we do really all across the board as long as it's really impactful. We go with 100 and San Vigo, we have solar investments. With Unknown, we have something in the fashion industry, similar like the one we just saw before. About Cleanhub, Joel will tell you a little bit. Carbon Future is a marketplace for biochar reduction projects. We have something in the area of food waste reduction, pipeline leak prediction. So we are not focused on one single area. We are really focusing on solving the problem, on reducing CO2 from the atmosphere. That's what we are investing in. So when I look at you, Joel, we have 2 things in common. One is having an impact on climate change, and just to give over to you, we have something different in common. So I came up with my idea of Übermorgen while surfing in California, and I think you came up with your idea of Cleanhub while surfing in Portugal, if I remember correctly.
That's exactly right.
So with that, I hand over to you.
Thank you very much for the introduction. I'm not sure, can you hear me? All right, perfect. Cool. Yeah, I'm Joel, the founder of Cleanhub, and my passion for mostly the oceans and obviously the climate as well took me from beautiful surfing beaches to landfills. This photo was taken in India, and what we can see there is that the way we manage our waste obviously has massive impact on our climate. What we can see in the background is not something that just happens in some specific villages, but that's in many cases the go-to way of how waste is disposed of. We have massive landfills sitting on unsecured grounds. It's a massive threat also to biodiversity, to soil health, to groundwater resources, and people just put those landfills on fire in the evening to reduce the waste volumes. And what that also means is that we are destroying resources, right? We have that dream of a circular economy, and we need the circular economy to combat climate change. The latest studies suggest that waste management itself can reduce greenhouse gas, the circular economy can reduce greenhouse gases by 39%, which is obviously massive. To achieve that, we have to face 2 very distinct problems. The first one is a material science problem, so we need better designs. We need to design our packaging, our general products for a circular economy, because what's happening today is we're investing a lot of resources, we're investing a lot of the carbon budget into producing things just to send them to a landfill and put them on fire at the end of the day. Or just ending up in the ocean, which is obviously the other thing that everybody is aware of. But the other problem is downstream. 40% of all households in the world are not connected to a waste management system. That means people put their waste on the streets, light them on fire because they need to get rid of it. Just because that there's no waste management system doesn't mean that there's no waste. And this is what also needs to be tackled, right? Because else you can invent the best possible packaging material upstream, but if there's nobody collecting that material downstream, there will not be a circular economy. We still will burn our resources. We will not loop back material into production cycles to save carbon on resources that we need. So this is a massive problem. We need waste management systems, and waste management is a big business opportunity as well. In Germany, we have 80 million inhabitants, and the waste management industry is 70 billion heavy. if you look at India, which is one of the fastest growing economies, we have 1.3 billion inhabitants and a waste management industry of 15 million. And this is insane because we've seen the negative sides effect of lack of waste management, and we know how important it is to achieve a circular economy. And this is why we are focusing on scouting and finding waste management companies in especially India and Indonesia, and scaling these projects up to collect plastic waste specifically before it can enter the oceans, right? So we're trying to turn off the tap before waste enters the environment in the first place, and especially the oceans where it will be lost forever. What do we mean by scaling? It's not just that the organizations need to grow, but we need to connect a lot of households to reduce waste in the environment. We need to make sure that it is environmentally feasible to do that. We need to make sure that social safeguards are in place for them to be able to grow and to keep growing. And that's what we're building technology for. We're making these waste management projects investable because we're tracking and tracing the entire organizations. We have the entire data on the waste streams, so we can, in the end, also issue something very similar to carbon credits, which is plastic credits. So organizations that still face the issue that there's no circular packaging material can at the same time say, okay, we don't just want to be part of the problem, but we want to be part of the solution, and invest in these kind of systems so that we can really scale up waste collection globally and keep resources in the loop. So we are supporting them financially, and I think that's the most important part. And this is what we do with a lot of responsibly thinking companies out there. By now we acquired more than 100 customers. We removed more than 750,000 kilograms of waste in India and Indonesia. And there's what I can tell you is the biggest struggle in the market is not the waste collection, but we need to step up as an economy. We need to step up as entrepreneurs ourselves and really invest into the solutions that will keep our planet livable. And circular economy is very much achievable. And yeah, if you're an entrepreneur and want to support the setup of circular world, happy to talk.
So I see you have a lot of logos that I already know. So Farmy is already a customer of you. Yep. Yamo is already a customer of you. And I think it's really, Joel's company, Cleanhub, really embodies what we are looking for. So you have a problem that is plastic waste that either goes to the ocean, which is a problem by itself, but it also produces a lot of methane when it stays on these how do you say, these vast fields of garbage, of these landfills. So only the amount of methane that is produced by rotting plastic, you meet our climate goals easily without even looking at the plastic in the ocean, with bothers those both as surfers, but just for that. And you take that problem and you say, how can I make a business opportunity out of it? So actually, by working with Farmy, with Yamo, with other brands, and bringing them to become customer, to give you money to solve that problem. That's what we do at Übermorgen as well, really. Taking a problem and turning it into a solution, turning it into a business opportunity. Thank you very much for being here. Thanks for having us.
Thank you.